Hello everyone and welcome in this new webinar. My name is Chiara Porte-Haquin. I will be your host today for this webinar about overcoming the imposter syndrome, a very massive subject that you've voted for on our social medias. We've asked you what is the next subject that you want to see on our webinar channel, and you've asked and voted massively for the imposter syndrome. This is something that many practitioners encounter. No matter how far ahead you are in your career, we all encounter sometime a feeling of not being legitimate and not having all the keys and the possibilities to be a good practitioner. So in the first part of this webinar, I will give you some insights about the imposter syndrome, and on the second part, we will work together in a more workshop section where I will give you some concrete strategies and exercises to work through this syndrome. Now, first and foremost, we have to understand the imposter syndrome. So first, let's define the imposter syndrome. It is that feeling of doubting your skills, achievements, or knowledge, and the fear that others will find you out. So as a naturopath, it might show up as comparing yourself to other practitioners, over preparing for client sessions, or hesitating to offer premium services because you feel not enough. So here is a simple exercise. Pause this video for a moment and write down one time in your practice when you felt like a fraud. Just one moment. Don't overthink it. This is for you, and just to bring awareness to a moment where you felt like a fraud, where you felt unlegitimate. Okay, so now that you've write this, you can perceive what I'm talking about, how it can really stop you in your tracks and make you feel not worthy to be on the scene and helping people. This is such a breakthrough that you need to have in order to overcome this imposter syndrome. So, what makes it so hard to overcome? And why does it happen? So, imposter syndrome doesn't mean that you're failing. It has roots in our experiences and the environments that we grew up in. So for many naturopaths, societal pressure can play a role. Holistic medicine isn't always recognized in mainstream healthcare, which can make us question our own expertise. Perfectionism is another big factor. We want to know everything before we step forward, and that can keep us stuck. And finally, past experiences, critical teachers, family expectations, or early career struggles can reinforce that idea that we're not enough. So take a moment now to think about one early experience that might be contributing to your self-doubt today. Anything. It might be a simple critique from your family or a moment where you felt not enough, not necessarily linked to your practice as a naturopath or a natural health practitioner, but a moment where you felt that feeling of self-doubt. You have it? Well, now you know what it feels like. And this is how I'm going to explain to you the imposter syndrome. It's not necessarily only self-doubt, it's also the subtle ways in which the imposter syndrome might show up. So you might avoid networking or workshops because you feel unqualified. You might hesitate to raise your prices or offer premium services. You might, as I said, over-research or over-prepare for sessions, and you might feel guilty for taking breaks or time off. This is one of the biggest patterns that I have seen as a tutor at the Amcc, but also as a tutor for young naturopath and young natural health practitioners out there. The biggest pattern is a pattern of self-doubt and also not allowing oneself to stop. And the problem is you can't really help people and help their health, whether it's mental health or physical health, even energetic health. You can't really be in that position and be yourself a strained individual, be yourself someone who is very tired and burnt out. We have a duty as health educators to show examples for our clients. We have to show them what we are trying to teach through our practice. So, recognizing these patterns is the first steps in changing them, and awareness gives you control. So, these are a few symptoms of the imposter syndrome. So, you might feel unsure right while practicing. So, that might be you don't know how to explain something to a client, or you don't know if you've said the right thing, or you might replay the consult afterwards and you might like over explain afterwards to your client, oh, I said this because of that and I didn't thought about this or that. This is a good intention in the first place, but it could be very detrimental in the long run because it might confuse your client more than anything. The second one is don't get started on your journey. That's a big one. Genuinely, when you finish your studies, most people, we tend to say that there's only like 10% of people that will study natural health that will eventually become a natural health practitioner. And this is not a big number. 10% is a very low number. And why is that? Because of imposter syndrome, and because it tells you that basically you have no place and you can never do this and it's too hard for you and you can never achieve it, and so you don't get started. The third thing is comparison. This is probably also one of the biggest ones. I don't need to explain it, but basically thinking that every practitioner around is better than you, and that you could never achieve their level. This is really something that will kill your spirit in the egg. The lack of confidence in choices, so in choices of treatment or recommendation to your clients. Skipping professional events, as I said, hesitating to network or workshop because you feel unqualified and you feel like a fraud, and you're just sort of like waiting for people to find out that you're not really a good practitioner. This is like a very common thing, so don't get surprised. I've seen this multiple times. People who will kind of keep to themselves and find themselves excuses for not networking, and eventually their practice will die off because you need to network to succeed. That's what I said in my previous webinar about the professional practice. It's very, very important. Next is hesitate to take high profile clients or high risk clients. So people who have very, very big pathologies, or people who are known in the community, and you don't want to take them because you don't want them to be disappointed, or people around you, you don't want them to be disappointed, so you don't take them as consultants. Delegate decision making. So if you can, just contact your tutor or your mentor and be like, are you sure that this is the proper decision? And your client end up being super confused because you don't want to take a decision, and you're almost like asking them, is it the right decision that I'm taking for you? But you have to be confident in your role, because it is your role as a practitioner to appear, and not only appear, but be confident in your choices for your client, because he or she expects you to know your domain and expects you to know what you're doing, and someone who appears unconfident is a little distressing for the client, so it's not great. And finally, I would say underpricing is one of the most common symptoms of the imposter syndrome. People will tend to price very low and probably below the market, and they will never be able to achieve living off their practice fully. And so they will be like a part-time practitioner, or they will practice for like a year or two, and then eventually it will fail. It's kind of like what I talked about in the webinar about the professional practice. It's almost like a common thing if you want to be successful. And by successful, I mean if you want to live off your practice. The imposter syndrome comes in and will kill that. It will kill your practice if you are not careful. So this is basically what I mean by understanding the imposter syndrome. So why it happens, what are the mechanisms of self-sabotage? Because this is truly self-sabotage. You weren't like pushed in your childhood to be confident, or you feel unconfident as an adult, which is totally possible. But there's also, I would say, a lack of validation, maybe coming from the outside, because this is a new profession. It's actually not new, but it's considered new. And as I said before, it might be not recognized in mainstream healthcare, which can make you question your expertise and your knowledge. There's a lot of pressure, expectation, and self-critique that can come in and really kill that for you, and make that mechanism of self-sabotage really strong. And finally, there's perfectionism, biggest self-sabotage mechanism, because we all want to do great, and this is such a quality as a practitioner. Better be a perfectionist than someone who's lazy and kind of like slack back and not really making any effort. But it can also be a break in your career, and it can definitely be something that will take you back from your full potential. Okay, so these are the mechanisms of self-sabotage, the most common ones. And now that you know everything about the imposter syndrome, let me give you some strategies to overcome and reframe your mindset. So this will be sectioned in 3 different parts. The first one is a little exercise that I call the mindset shift. So the mindset shift is basically being able to reframe your mindset, because one of the biggest aspect of the imposter syndrome is the mindset, is how you think. So what I mean by mindset is basically how you perceive yourself, how you perceive your practice, and how you think of life in general, and how you perceive things. So we all have our own filters, and we all perceive the world in a different way. But the mindset can be something that poison you and poison your body and your mental health. So in this exercise, I will first and foremost reframe failure. We need to talk about the fact that mistakes are learning opportunities. They're not a failure, and it's not like a death wish. It's not something that will stop your career dead in its tracks and you will never get back on it. Mistakes are part of the process. If you don't fail, you can never learn. And this is not coming from me. This is basically every mindset coach out there saying mistakes are part of the process. If you don't fail, you can never learn how to recalibrate, and you can never learn how to reframe your practice and make it grow better and bigger. So failure is part of the process. And also, on the other hand of this, there's the wins. We have to celebrate the wins. So this is 2 things that most practitioners don't do. They will, most of the time, be very, 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 very concerned about a mistake that they consider big, usually when it's sometimes not that big, but it will seem big because you're emotionally involved in this. And they will not celebrate any sort of accomplishment or any sort of wins that they have. But every client progress counts. Wherever it's like you make a breakthrough with a client, or you get a new client, this is something that you have to celebrate. So it's very important to reframe failure as a part of a process and to celebrate the wins. And finally, in the mindset shift, is stop comparing yourself. You on the market have unique skills and unique knowledges, but you as a practitioner have your own view of the world, your own view of health, and you have your own way of approaching health. And this is your unique skills, and you need to put that in the front, and you need to really focus on those skills, because this is what makes you different on the market. I've talked about this in the strategies on the previous webinar. This is not a strategy webinar, but in your own mindset, this is totally a strategy. Just put your skills on the front, because this is what's going to make you better. Not better than people, not better than the people in the same field as you, but better as a person and as a practitioner. Please pause this video and write down one recent success that you've had. Not necessarily career-wise, it could be like a personal success or a sports success, whatever it is. But please write it down and then try this affirmation. I did this. I am capable. I can do this. It may sound very cheesy, but it can totally reframe your brain in a very scientific way, because the brain is very aware of our patterns and our beliefs, and everything in our brain is a connection and a system of connections that we make, and these connections can be changed and can be reframed, and this is what I talk about when I talk about the mindset shift. So please try this exercise right now, stop the video, and then we will go on with the second part, which is the daily practices. Okay, now on the second part, these are the daily practices. So once you've reframed your mindset, once you've pretty much laid the boundaries and laid the basis of this work, so the first daily practice that I would recommend is journaling. So you could write, for example, 3 successes a day. So 3 things that you're happy about, something that you feel like you've done right. Journaling is a very, very important and very powerful practice that you can even recommend to your clients, because it really reframes the brain gently and it helps to slow down and be more aware and conscious. You can totally write every day about your practice, how you feel, what are your goals, but you can also write 3 successes a day. So 3 things that you are happy about, 3 things that you've genuinely felt proud of. And in the beginning, it will feel a little rehearsed. It will feel a little bit like you're doing this, but it's a little fake. But in the meantime, your brain is reframing, your brain is working, your subconscious is working. And those things are very important for the daily practices and the reframing and the mindset shift. The second practice is affirmation. So this is totally something that I know will not be for everyone, but affirmations are proven to have a positive impact on the brain and something that will help the brain reframe and change connections in on a neural pathway. So you can make your own affirmations. You can also use the I am fully capable, for example, or I'm fully capable of helping my clients heal, or I can help my clients, I can help them feel better. This is my way, this is my path. I can help them, I have the capacities to help them. It's very important to just gently tell yourself every day those thoughts, because you're just implying something new. Even if you don't really believe it right now, it's very important because it will give something else to your brain. Your brain will be like, okay, she or he is saying something different to me, different than usual, and I feel like this is maybe a truth, so I will work on it. And this is what your brain's doing when it's brewing about an idea. And finally, the daily practice that I would recommend is pretty obvious. I know you recommend it to your clients pretty regularly because it is meditation. Meditation and mindfulness in general is very, very beneficial when it comes to building self-confidence and helping with a ton of different illnesses and pathologies and problematics that your clients may encounter. But you yourself can use visualization and meditation as a way to help yourself. And for example, you're about to go in a session and you're very, very unconfident and you're feeling very anxious. Take 5 minutes to sit down and visualize a confident client session, something that goes well. And you can visualize the outcome as being very positive. And this can help you overcome yourself and really be at the best of your capacities and the best of your potential. And this has helped so many new and more experienced practitioner to really regroup and refocus and have a different mindset about the sessions. For example, if this is like what's bothering you the most is like the sessions, you can really work on visualizing. If this is more a problem of like, I don't feel confident, I don't feel legitimate, you can work with the affirmation and the journaling. Please pick the tools that are the most useful to you. It's kind of like when you're giving something to a client, you're just saying to that client, okay, I'm giving you a toolbox, use it however you want. And it engage self-responsibility, and it's very important. It's part of the educational process of our profession. But this is very important. These are 3 core tools that you can use every day. If you use them with discipline, you will see some change. But even if it's not every day, just use them when you can and when you have the time and when you make the time. It's very important. And finally, I will give you some professional tools. The first one will be find a mentor. Find someone that can mentor you. Find someone that can tutor you. And if you are just a recent graduate or just starting as a naturopath or as a natural health practitioner, find someone that is more experienced and that can give you very precious advice on how to approach a client, how to talk to a client, what is the place that you have as a practitioner, and how can you feel legitimate and confident in your shoes. The second one is join peer groups and normalize your feelings. So it might be a solitary path if you are not very socially active, or if you don't really go to workshops and meetings and meetups with other practitioners, or if you don't network. But really try to join some peers group. So like join your peers in group and try to find people that just resonate with you, that are your tribe, that will help you feel more confident, because this is going to be a booster in your career. And these people might bring clients, these people might bring you some tools and some advices. You don't know what they can bring. So having other people's involved is always a good thing, as long as they're not interrupting your process or making you feel unconfident. And the third one is continue learning. The confidence grows with skills. And this is always what I push my students to do. I always push them to be continuously learning and keeping their knowledges up to date, because the world is a fast one, and the knowledges and the science is a fast one. And if you want to be a competitive, first of all, so like a good practitioner on the scene, you really need to continue learning and have this knack for learning, because feeding your brain with new information is a value for your client when you are in a session. So it's very important to continue growing your skills and practice as much as you can. First, you will practice on your entourage and the people around you, and then you will find your first clients, and you will continue on and on. And if you've had a stop in your career, you will start again, and you will grow with time, with skill, with patience. All these are really great things that can help you go a step by step, more than I will go fast and I will try to be good in like the first year, I will be perfect. No, you will make mistake, you will fall, you will have good sessions, you'll be proud of yourself, and all of this is messy and it's part of the process. So I recommend picking one strategy today and committing to it for a week. So you'll be amazed at how the small steps build real confidence. So pick a strategy, use the daily practices, keep in mind the professional tools, and reframe your mindset and do the mindset shift exercises that I've given you. So before we wrap up, I want to take a few moments to reflect with you. So you have 3 questions that you need to answer right now on the paper that you have in front of you. So write these down, write the question down, and then write the answer, and keep them visible. Put them on your fridge, Put them in the bathroom, in your bedroom, but keep them by your side because this is your roadmap to stepping fully into your professional confidence. So the first question is, what is one sign of imposter syndrome that you've noticed in yourself? Think about this. What is, from the symptoms that I've given you in the beginning, what is one sign that you've noticed in yourself? The second one is one mindset shift or daily practice that you'll commit to this week. What from the mindset shift and the daily practices that I've given you do you want to do right now the most? Like, what is the thing that appeals to you the most? Commit to it for a week, try it out, and you'll see how it goes. And finally, one supportive action, like reaching out to a mentor or a peer. What can you put in place right now for a week and more that is a supportive action of your practice and a supportive action of you reframing your mindset? Is it like watching this webinar? Is it reaching out to people in the comments? Is it doing the workshops that we're going to offer you, the journal prompts that we're going to offer you? What can you do to support yourself? Write these down, keep them somewhere visible, and let them brew inside your brain. This is very important because you need some time to reflect and integrate what you've just listened to and this very compact webinar. So, we've decided to give you free journal prompts. So you can get them down below in the description box or comment free journal prompt, and we will send you a clear PDF that you can use for your journaling practice with some questions to reflect on your imposter syndrome, on the symptoms that you have, and on your position as a practitioner in your head right now. So this is a little something that we offer you at the Amcc so you can work through this webinar and have the best results. Now, thank you so much for taking this time for yourself today. Remember that imposter syndrome doesn't mean you're a fraud. It means you're growing. And by understanding it and noticing it in your practice and taking the small practical step, you can confidently step into your role as a natural health practitioner and truly help your clients thrive. If you'd like more support, you can check our details and the details of our trainings down below in the description box. And until next time, trust yourself, celebrate your process, and know that you deserve a place in this healing work.